we go.
So we're going to control it in this first 1,000, so we warm up, squeeze and set.
Full stream. Hit it now. Yeah, coming on. Right, boys. We got 45 coming up. I want that turn. Stand on it.
Shut through control and aggression on that foot plate.
Legs hard. Legs hard. Legs hard.
Foot plate. Foot plate. Every stroke, heads up, big legs. Driving for that finish. This is our reset point at Hammersmith. This is where our race restarts. And we're going for home, going for that pennant.
Right, boy. On the black, boy. Tier 1. Sit back. Go. Send it. Send it. Next one.
Welcome to the Head of the River Race 2024. We're looking at the iconic Hammersmith Bridge, and you're joining us here on the commentary team. My name is Camilla Hadlin-Horrocks. I'm joined by Will Hadlin-Horrocks, and we're going to be taking you through this afternoon's racing that kicks off at 3:15 local time. And what a glorious day we have here on the championship course on the Tideway in London. You can see the sun is shining. Perhaps a few bumpy conditions to keep an eye out for a bit further down the course, but we'll come on to that in just a few moments' time. But Will, we're on for a great race here today.
Yeah, it should be absolutely fantastic. 324 crews that were entered into the 8th Head of the River today. Great to see so many crews from all areas of the country and further afield, and all abilities here racing on the championship course.
Well, we've been looking forward to getting some action down this course. We had the women's 8th Head of the River a couple of weeks ago that went ahead, and after a few challenging weeks for the rowing community, through lots of races being cancelled due to inclement conditions, high levels of river flow, lots of rain. It's amazing that we're going to be kicking off this 2024 edition of the Head of the River race. So yeah, we've got lots of cameras down the course for you. Here we are nearing the finish in Putney on the embankment, and great to see some crowds gathering.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge number of people spectating who'll be ready to cheer on their crews as they come down.
So they'll be coming down this course right here, Will, a course that you know very well, having been your home course for a while.
I do, yes. So you go under Chiswick Bridge and past the start line. A few minutes later, you get to Barnes Bridge, into the middle of your race now, going past the bandstand. Long straight all the way from Barnes through to Hammersmith, past Chiswick Pier, past Chiswick Ayett. You then go past the halfway point at the Blue Bay windows. Then big sweeping right hand turn under Hammersmith Bridge, try and go under that second lamp post, past Harrods Depository, past the mile post into your last few minutes of rowing, starting to expend every last bit of energy you have, past Fulham Football Club on your left hand side, past the Black Boy. You might start to hear a few cheers from the crowd on the side, past London Rowing Club, the last of the boathouses, 250 metres to go, absolutely everything you have left. So the finish line at the University Stone just before Putney Bridge.
So 6.8 kilometres of rowing. Now, we talked a little bit about the conditions here this weekend. Now, there's been a really high flow rate for the river, which means that on the positive side, we could see some really fast times here this weekend. But it does also mean potentially some dangerous conditions with high stream flow.
It does, yeah, and unfortunately we've had a few crews who've withdrawn from the event on safety reasons. As Camilla mentioned, we've had a huge amount of rain over the past few weeks, so the water is moving very fast. It's what we call on yellow boards. You can see one of our Cox cams here, just seeing the crews getting ready for the start. They're sat near Barnes Bridge. But yeah,
Yeah, the Cox Cam is something we're really excited to bring you. This is an initiative that started just quite recently, in recent years of the race, and we get to ride on board with a number of crews here today. So if you put yourself forward for one of our Cox Cams, we'll be joining on board University College Cork, the Say Club staffer from Switzerland. We'll also be joining Henley Rowing Club, Collingwood College Durham, Neptune Rowing Club, and Leeds Rowing Club on board. Very, very exciting indeed to get you right into the mix, into the boat. A very rare view, I think, if you've never been in a boat before, to see what it's like from the Coxon seat.
Yeah, absolutely, and great to hear as well that we'll get that audio from the Coxes. So we'll hopefully hear some really interesting bits of information. Look at some of our umpires on the water. A huge thanks, of course, to all of the volunteers who make this race happen. As you can imagine, having so many, it's a big, big effort. You can see here our clothing and merchandise sponsored Rock the Boat. A huge thank you to them. You can go to the Rock the Boat website to pick up the official Head of the River race merchandise, or if you happen to be down in Putney, you can go to their stand outside Vesta Rowing Club.
Yeah, we ourselves are sporting our own Head of the River long sleeve jumpers today. Some great bits of merch that you can purchase, and for all of our fans that are watching, friends, family, loved ones out there on the water, a great way to support by heading to the Rock the Boat website or looking for the stand in Putney whilst you're there in person. Well, look, a lovely calm bit of water, the river very, very full, and we'll see that starting to deplete towards the end of that 324 cruise as the tide is slowly turning ahead of the start of the race at 3:15 local time in just 2 minutes time. Now we're up to start here, and those 324 crews that are entered, as I say, a few fewer than we had before, but let's take a look at the draw of today's race. Now, setting off with that bow number 1, that provisional start order on the left-hand side, Oxford Brookes University Boat Club A. They were the record setters from last year's race in a time of 16:28.04. Now, we'll have to see if they can challenge that here today. I think not as strong a crew, perhaps, as last year's crew, with it being an Olympic year. We're missing a lot of that international talent, but they will be being chased down the course by a very strong Leander Club crew, Leander Club A, and we'll talk a little bit more about them during the race. We've got loads of categories here through the race, and we'll talk to you a little bit more about what those mean. We've got pennants for international clubs, the Jackson, the Page, the Vernon, and academic as well. There's overseas, junior, lots of categories up for grabs here, and each of the sort of letters that you can see there on the draw signifies the eligibility of each club for each pennant.
Yeah, fantastic to see so many crews, and including lots of crews from all the way around the country and further afield. Lots of clubs sending multiple entries as well, seeing crews that are their 3rd or 4th eights from their club. But going back to the start line here, you can see the crowds amassing on Chiswick Bridge. So as Camilla mentioned, that water is moving pretty quickly. You can see it sort of bubbling off the buoy there. Fantastic shot, just showing how quickly that water is moving. Although I do think that we saw some shots earlier before the tide had changed and the water did look a little bit rougher. I think now with the tide flowing out, flowing from west to east, that there's maybe some slightly calmer conditions, although we are expecting that section around coming up to Hammersmith Bridge to be pretty rough. We're on board now with Henley Rowing Club. They found themselves a very good spot to hold on to, so the Cox isn't going to be requiring the athletes to tap on too much to keep them in position.
Yeah, and getting yourself prepared and ready to take on this course. You know, if you're the quickest of the crews, it's a 16 minutes 28 seconds race. But if you're on average looking to complete this course, the average time around about 19:20 is what we see from crews, and that's course dependent, conditions dependent. Things like the flow, the wind, the weather all feed into that average time. But like we've said, we're expecting some quick times here in 2024. A very different race to the first ever race that took place in 1926. Just 21 crews back in that year, and we're coming up to 100 years of the Head of the River race in a couple of years' time. I'm sure there'll be big celebrations then. But as we prepare now for the first of our crews to take on this course, we should be expecting to see Oxford Brookes University A. Now, Will, you and I have been talking a little bit about the battle at the top here between Oxford Brookes University A, who have won this race now 5 times on the trot in the years that it's taken place, and Leander Club, who have failed to win a race outright since 2015, but were joint winners with Oxford Brookes in 2018.
Yeah, absolutely. That Leander always absolutely stacked full of top level athletes for decades. It was the GB Men's Sweep Training Centre, and then even since then, many of those in the squad have come through Leander Club at some point. So it's always been full of either Olympians or future Olympians, but they have been challenged in recent years by Oxford Brookes University Boat Club. You can see on board here with Neptune Rowing Club, one of our Irish crews who have made the journey across the Irish Sea to be here with us today, and to see a spectator getting very involved in the activities. Hopefully he doesn't get too much further into the middle of the river and get him or herself into any danger.
Yeah, I'd spin around there. And just as we say that, our first crew now underway. This is Oxford Brookes University A, and we'd expect them to be very quick. They're moving off Chiswick Bridge. That signifies the start here, just past Tideways Scullers Rowing Club. And Coxbite Tom Bryce, the under-23 gold medalist from the 8 in 2023, and joined by a lot of that crew here in this Oxford Brookes boat. Louis Nares in the stroke seat joined Tom Bryce back in 2023, as well as Fergus Woolnough, who's in the 4 seat. But here come Leander A with that bow. Number 2, the Cox here with the reins, Jack Totham, the Oxford University Boat Club Cox from 2022 and boat race winner. What a great person to have to take them down the championship course, Will.
Yeah, huge amounts of experience with this water now, with Leander Club having been with Oxford University Boat Club previously. But there's as Kurt said, maybe not seeing the international caliber athletes, but as we now see crew number 3, Oxford Brookes University B, still a huge number of quality rowers. We've got under 23 gold medalists, we've got Henley winners, and this Oxford Brookes B crew absolutely stacked with athletes who won red boxes at Henley Royal Regatta last year, including Toby Larson in the 3 seat, who won the visitors last year. We've now got Oxford Brookes C. They are our first crew in the academic category, going for the Bernard Churcher Trophy. So these are all university eligible athletes. We'll be seeing some of the other universities that are going for that Bernard Churcher Trophy as we go through the day. But how amazing for Oxford Brookes to have 3 crews in the top 4.
Yeah, whether it will stay that way, we'll have to wait and see. We'll bring you the provisional times as and when we can. You're on screen now with Leander Club B. Sonia Gladstone in the Cox and Seat, daughter of the great Steve Gladstone of Yale University, who herself coxed at Yale just last year. But this B crew from Leander, another really good challenging crew here, I think, for a top 5 position to hang on to that. It's then Thames Rowing Club A, the first of our local crews to come down the course. They're based out of the Putney Embankment. And this Thames A crew, we talk about Henley winners, this littered with a number of Henley winners from back in 2021 in the Thames Challenge Cup, and also on board Ben Thompson and Josh Braithwaite, who were Henley winners last year in that very same event. We've got lots of marshals here dotted around the course, making sure we get underway smoothly. And the second of our academic crews now on your screen. This is University of London Boat Club A, and they'll be going for that title as well.
Yeah, University of London also based on the Tideway course, just a little bit past the start line. always incredibly impressive. We're now moving on to Thames Rowing Club B, crew number 9. So these are the crews that will be looking to hold on to their position. The start order is based on the finish times from the previous year. We've now got our next crew, Molesey Boat Club A, crew number 10, and they are followed by Oxford Brookes University Boat Club E. Oxford Brookes with 5 crews in the top 11. And we're jumping on board with another one of our crews. A fantastic shot from the Cox cam of the Thames crew going past. This is Collingwood College Boat Club, all the way coming all the way down from Durham University in the northeast. We're cutting to Leander Club here, crew number 12. That's their C crew. So Leander and Oxford Brookes really stacking the top of the field here at the head of the River Race 2024.
Now, each of these crews are being set off at roughly a 10-second interval, and on your screen now, this should be London Rowing Club A, who have had a really great season so far, Will, and I'm actually really excited to see how close London Rowing Club can get to Thames here in one of the biggest races of the season.
Yeah, London, who historically were absolutely one of the best clubs in the country, maybe dropped off a little bit in the last 10 years, but they are really making a resurgence, and they've got their local rivals Thames just behind them. That's the Thames C crew, and for sure that London A crew will be looking to push far away from Thames.
Now, crew I'm very happy to see here, Durham University Boat Club A now on screen, crew number 15, my alumni crew. Now back at the British University Championships, the Bucks head of the river, they topped the table in the championship men's eights. They came home with a gold medal, but some of their closest competitions and rivals starting right behind them with bow number 16, Edinburgh University Boat Club A, part of that sort of northern trifecta powerhouse of Edinburgh, Durham and Newcastle.
Yeah, so the 3 crews starting together in the draw, Durham, Edinburgh and Newcastle, they were the top 3, and there is Newcastle. So it was Durham, Newcastle and Edinburgh. That was the top 3 at the Bucks Forwards and Eights head up in Newcastle just over a month ago, and they're followed down by the next of our Oxford Brookes crews. But we're moving now to our camera at Hammersmith Bridge. We should be seeing in a few minutes' time our first crew coming past that. We've now got Imperial College Boat Club A, another one of our Tideway based crews. They're based out of Putney.
Yeah, we've got a number of local crews here taking part, and Imperial College being one of those who will be eligible for that academic pennant. Another crew from Oxford Brookes University now. This is Oxford Brookes University G, bow number 21. They're in the open category, so not eligible for that academic. And Oxford Brookes, well renowned for also being a club rowing club as well as an academic university institution. They have a number of athletes that stay on post-university or join the club as non-students. Now, great to see Royal Chester Rowing Club. This is bow number 22 here. They are looking to try and put in a good performance in the Jackson, which is a pennant that is well fought after by a number of crews from outside of the Thames region and the Thames tributaries. So in previous years, that's been won by the likes of Tyne Rowing Club. Royal Chester right up here now, going off at a good pace to try and put themselves in good stead to win that Jackson trophy. This looks like crew number 24 now. This is Thames Rowing Club D. They're after the Vernon Trophy. Now, we talked about the Jackson being non-London clubs. The Vernon is quite the opposite. This is those that do have training grounds that are on the Thames or the Thames tributaries.
Yeah, so great that they can have competition all the way up and down. Moving to 2 of our next crews. We've got Cork Boat Club Ireland and Marlow Rowing Club. Beautiful red and white blades. Marlow starting very close behind. And jumping back to Henley Rowing Club, Crew 128. So they're going to have to sit there for a little bit of time before they get to turn around and come down the course.
More crews now filtering under that bridge, and the site of Chiswick Bridge will be a good one for them to start winding up that 6.8 kilometre course laid out in front of them, and they'll be carried along, and it'll feel a little bit shorter than 6.8 kilometres really, I think, because as we said, the stream going in the right direction for them will carry them down, and hence why they'll all be looking for fast times here today. Another crew here from London Rowing Club, I believe it seems. I'm just taking a quick look down our and here we go. We're now joining our race. I say race leaders. Obviously, we don't know if they're leading the race at the moment, but certainly bow number 1, Oxford Brookes University. Very sharp here on the catches. You can see the splash that the blades create as they enter that water, getting on it, getting on the catches, and letting that stream help them along and push them towards the finish line.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that Brookes crew from that behind shot looked absolutely fantastic. Really aggressive around the front end, looking to accelerate the boat. We can see on board now with the Club Staffer from Switzerland, one of our international crews. They were here racing at Head of the River for the first time last year. You can see they're all the way up at the far end of the course. They're up by Kew Rail Bridge. So even when they spin, they've got about 2 kilometres just to row down to the start.
Here we are again, Oxford Brookes University A. You can see the one there on the back of Thijs Rijken, who the ex-KSRB Njord rower from the Netherlands, who's joined this Brookes crew. In front of him, Matt Haywood, the under-23 gold medalist from the men's 8 in 2022. Domenico Arnerich, the Kiwi in the 3-seat, along with Fergus Walnuff, who we mentioned earlier, yet another under-23 gold medalist. Ben Newton sits at 5 here for Oxford Brookes, alongside Jonathan Cameron, who won the Visitors Challenge Cup at Henley Royal Regatta last year as part of that huge Brookes influx, that 7 from 7, quite famously at the 2023 regatta. And they're about to power through Hammersmith Bridge. What a great line that Tom Bryce has taken here, and a great rhythm being set by Louis Nares in the stroke seat and Jake Winkham at 7.
Cutting back to the start, and another one of our Thames Rowing Club crews going through the start line. Crew number 42, that is the Thames Rowing Club G crew, so a huge number of athletes from Thames Rowing Club in the top 50 here. So as we're going now into those slightly lower positions, obviously not every crew can aim to win a pennant. As we see now, Oxford Brookes B jumping back to Hammersmith Bridge. We've got the Oxford Brookes B crew. They will be trying to chase down the Pink Palace of Leander Club. How amazing would it be for Oxford Brookes if they could get a 1-2 in this event? But I think that Leander crew is going to be very hard to beat. But as we said, a lot of pedigree in this Oxford Brookes crew, and as a programme, they always produce very strong 8s. You may not necessarily look at the individuals and think that they're going to be right at the top, but they all row in the same way. They train together all the time. They row with telemetry all the time. So they know that when they can put out 8 individuals, they know it's going to go fast.
Yeah, this is now, talking of universities, this is Newcastle University Boat Club we've got on screen. This will be their B crew, crew number 45, setting off now, ready to try and better that position. I think that's the aim really for a lot of crews who maybe aren't the top crew or looking for a pennant, is they're trying to finish as high up as possible, and a lot of crews will be looking to better the position of last year if they had a crew entered. Now, Leander back on screen, just trying to figure out which of our Leander crews this is, and as we zoom in more closely, I think I can see there, this should be the Leander B crew, I think crew number 5. I can see Levin Graf there in the boat, and as we pan back now to the start, 324 crews entered, a few fewer starting here, but that looks to me like perhaps Derby Rowing Club, crew number 50.
Yeah, Derby Rowing Club. I've always been an absolute massive fan of those unisuits ever since they changed them a few years ago. Those hoops across the centre. Crew number 7, that is the Oxford Brookes D crew. So we're getting a lot of Oxford Brookes as they come through, and let's just see how fast that water's moving. But the conditions really not proving too challenging at all. Oh, great shot here from our camera in Putney. You can see Oxford Brookes and Leander Club, those two leading crews. It looks like they dropped everyone behind them, and I'd say that it's hard to say exactly what the gap was at the start, but I'd say that Leander have maybe pushed up on Brookes.
Yeah, perhaps great to see there. Molesey Boat Club under new leadership. Sam Tuck now leading the fort at Molesey Boat Club, and the great Mo Sabihi on the bows of their top 8 here, looking to put in a great position. Molesey, last winners of this event back in 2014. We've not seen them at the top of the head of the river results for some time, but that 2014 result, one that went down in history. Now, the stripes there, I think that must be Hereford Rowing Club, because we have been growing up in the West Midlands. We used to race Hereford quite a lot. We used to call them the Pirates, well, with those striped unisuits.
See why. Another fantastic shot there, Brookes and Leander just motoring their way down. They'll be past the milepost now and shifting on to London Rowing Club, another one of their crews here.
That looks to me like the London A crew, I would say. I think that's Rosie Margolis in the coxswain seat. Will, who we know from Edinburgh University Boat Club, previously of Latimer, so knows this stretch of water really, really well, and has now joined London Rowing Club. Another crew here from Durham University. This is Durham University. My apologies. It looks to me like it's UL Tyrian Club. That's getting my purples mixed up.
Confusing shades of purple.
Confusing
and
shades of
Tyrian
purple.
don't help by wearing those checked unisuits, which make it just a little bit trickier. Oh, how good do Oxford Brookes look here? I love this shot where you can just see how quickly the boat is moving along the water. I know that the water is helping them a lot. They're past Craven Cottage now. They're into their last 600 or 700 meters of rowing, and the Cox Tom Bryce of Oxford Brookes will be calling them up, trying to make it six head of the rivers on the bounce for Oxford Brookes.
Yeah, 2016, 2018, 2019, 2022 and 2023 winners. Oxford Brookes University want to etch a 6th win on the bounce here on this iconic course, this iconic race, and this is the nicest water I've seen at the head of the river for some time. They will really be hurting but enjoying themselves, I think, through this final 600 metres, and this is like you said at the beginning, Will, where the crowds will be starting to gather and cheer on that Putney embankment where our camera is, and look how long they're keeping it here, through the boat line, through the boat clubs. They really don't look rushed at all, and they're being helped along by that huge amount of stream, and we're going to have to see the gap that we've got between them and Leander A. But speaking of gaps, not much here between these two crews. I think for me this is Bristol on the left hand side, or Vesta, definitely some kind of maroons and blacks. Just trying to figure out, they're going next to Imperial.
Bristol and Imperial, and it is Bristol University by the looks of it overtaking Imperial College London around the outside. Moving back now to the finish, and we've got Leander Club. So many athletes who have done incredible things, gone to World Cups, won at Henley, and they are trying to bring the Head of the River trophy back to Henley-on-Thames.
Yeah, they looked a little bit higher on the rating than Oxford Brookes into those final few strokes, but I think we caught them a little bit later on, and we'll bring you the times as soon as we can. We're hoping to get some of that provisional data to our commentary position as soon as possible. Now, Oxford Brookes B now on your screen. Sam De Silva, the former Drexel athlete in the coxswain seat, stroke by Edward Lamanovic, the captain of the SJU Hawks, 2 American collegiate rowers there in that sort of stern of the boat, and lots of overtaking going on. It's great to see, Will.
Yeah, definitely. So we can see Marlow Rowing Club here, I think, coming past Commercial Rowing Club Ireland, and that's an aspect of the 8th head, especially as you go further down. Obviously, we're not going to see many overtakes between Oxford Brookes and Leander because they're just so closely matched. But as you go down, and especially if, as I mentioned earlier, your starting position is based on your finish position the previous year. If either you've got a lot better or you've dropped off a lot, you're going to be around crews of a very different speed to you, and that means you can be either overtaking or being overtaken, and that puts a lot of stress on the cocks. We're seeing that Leander B crew, and oh my word, the sun was out, but I think we've got a spring
pretty strong
squall
to catch up to the other
blowing through Chiswick Rowing Club.
Sit up.
We're going on board
Precision, boys.
with
I want
University College Cork crew number 88,
Good
the
rip.
first
Good second
of
to the
our
boat.
Cox cams that we've
One
got on the
plump.
water. Let's take a listen in for a second.
Well, we'll be joining them for the race in just a few moments of time, but you can just see how changeable the conditions are here. And the running order is based off last year's finish order. If you had crews in last year that performed well, you get to set off earlier on in the race, and so you get the best crack at some of those conditions. But look, more overtaking going on. This is a really sort of, I was about to say popular place, but I was going to say common place for overtakes to happen. You're just outside of a kilometre away from the finish, and as you start that sprint and that move in towards the finish, as UL are doing now, this is where the gaps start to close and that overtaking starts to happen. UL looking very punchy here, tired, laboured, but certainly
laboured is exactly the word I was going to use there, Camilla, just looking like they're really starting to struggle. We've got Upper Thames just holding off Agecroft here coming up to Hammersmith Bridge. Yeah, and it's an interesting place for overtakes to happen as well, because the line on this river is so important. It is a tidal river, and the water does flow faster in some places than it does in others, and it's very important as a cox that you're putting your boat in that fastest water all the way down. That's why we talk about the experience of these coxes and whether they've been here on the tideway before, have they trained here. And if you're trying to overtake a crew around Hammersmith Bridge, you can actually find yourself out of that good water.
Well, we're back on board now with University College Cork, crew number 88, and they'll be setting on just ahead of University of Exeter Boat Club A, and they'll be just behind Durham University Boat Club B. So that's who they'll be chasing.
Building off.
We can hear now they're about to go underneath the bridge. What great footage this is, and we can hear the cocks if we listen.
Building right now, boys. In the range. Over. 5. Race. 4. Race. 3. Stop it. 2. Ready. Now. We're in, boys.
Now that's what we hear. That's the great that we've got this audio from the cocks of this crew.
Sit up the tip on the backside. Draw up. Let her walk. 120 on the split. Rates on 20 pips.
You can hear the split time that they're talking about there. That's the speed at which the boat is moving.
I want 2 more pips on the rate.
And the cock's now asking for a couple more pips on the rate. That's increasing that stroke rate. So Noah Giltinen of University College Cork Rowing Club, the cocks of that crew, asking them to just elevate that a little bit, get a little bit punchier to be able to lift and get onto the rating that they've planned for and that they've accounted for. Now, crew number 17 now coming into shot. This is Newcastle University Boat Club on screen. And you can just see how tiresome it must have been all the way down the last 6 kilometres that they've had to row. We saw the wind picking up right near the start, which will make for those changeable conditions. And it gets really tough then when you've done near on 20 minutes of rowing to keep that pace up and make that sprint towards the finish. Now, we'll keep bringing you each of these crews. You can see the spots of rain just starting to appear on our camera, and very changeable weather, as we keep saying. You've got to be prepared for absolutely anything here. And now we're aboard the Say Club, Straffa, Switzerland. They've come all the way from Zurich, Will. Great to see overseas crews coming back to the head of the river following COVID.
Yeah, fantastic. Say Club Straffa, they came here to the head of the river for the first time last year. And great to see them back. We've got a few of the crew who were here last year. 3 of the crew and the cocks were in the crew last year. They've sent us some fantastic notes. So thank you for volunteering to have a camera on your crew, but also sending us such fantastic information about the crew, about how well they've bonded as a crew over the last few months. All the hard training together. You can see Chiswick Bridge ahead of them. So what the Cops will be doing is just trying to get in line right now. Just trying to keep them tapping along now. Oh, they're just starting to build. I'd actually say that's maybe a little bit early to build, and maybe difficulty there and just being a little bit new. You think, right, I'm coming up to the bridge, we got to go. But actually, there's maybe a good 70, 80 meters past the bridge before you actually hit that starting line. There is a launch on the right-hand side. Will pull you up, but actually, you don't hit the starting line until you're good maybe 10 bricks through the starting line. You know, just being able to see the finish line of the University Boat Race, the dark and light blue coat on the left-hand side, outside Highway Scholars School. Let's listen in for a second.
Super bleiben. In dem ersten Segment bleiben noch ruhig und cool. Ökonomisch über den Druck.
Well, my German's not great, but I think they're all being told to keep cool and to not go too hard here in this very long race. Gil Haya, the 17-year-old cox of this crew from Switzerland. How remarkable to have a junior athlete at the helm of this experienced crew. Now, Upper Thames coming into shot here. This is crew number 55, I think, on our Hammersmith Bridge cam, which means just over a kilometre to go here for Upper Thames. And they're looking very tidy here, Will.
Yeah, looking tidy, but you can see as well, it's interesting as we're kind of getting those very, very top crews are now moving into the middle. Just the difference in just the sort of speed through the water and just how much they accelerate the boat, just how it almost goes to show, not to do down Upper Thames at all, but just how impressive those top two crews looked. I think we've got St Paul's School here, based on the Tideway, coached by Bobby Thatcher, of course. They won the School's Head of the River, which was just a couple of days ago. And so they have raced on basically this exact same course, a couple hundred meters shorter. They finish just a little bit before the finish line of their Head of the River race, but they are absolutely looking fantastic and looking like it's going to be another great year for St Paul's School and Bobby Thatcher's athletes.
Yes, St Paul's. Fresh off the win from the School's Head of the River, as you've just said, Will, looking to make another good performance in their 2024 season. But more great shots here. You can see those gaps closing up. What started as what we'd hope would be a 10-second gap. I know that a lot of the coxes will try and push the boundaries on what is 10 seconds to get them in the race, to motivate their crew to, there's nothing more motivating than overtaking someone on such a long race. And on screen now, that looks to me like it is Agecroft Rowing Club, a little bit confused, I think, by the new lycras. I'm used to seeing Agecroft in red. I saw the blades, they look like Agecroft. In fact, no, the Münchner Ruder Club, that's why I was unsure. Looks like they were borrowing an Agecroft boat, perhaps. But the Münchner Ruder Club there, just on screen. Another good look here at overtaking going on. And if we take a little zoom in here.
Imperial College B crew on the far side in the blue, and just trying to pick up this crew that they're going past. That might be City of Cambridge Rowing Club's B crew, crew number 61, and a third crew, that's City of Bristol. So Imperial have gone past two crews already, but that's overtaking two crews at the same time. A lot of stress on the cox. Going down back to the start, crew 109 here, City of Bristol. So we've just seen one of their other crews. We've now got their C crew in the 109, looking very aggressive and punchy off the start line, really attacking those first few strokes. Often we'll see the coxes just letting their crews use that first 30 seconds, really attack it, and then you're wanting to settle into a hard, aggressive rhythm, something that you can hold for the next 17, 18 minutes or so. Jumping back on board now with Z Club stuff. They are through Barnes Bridge already. They're coming up to the bandstand. You can just see the houses on the waterfront in Barnes Village on the right-hand side. So they're just starting to come around that, finishing off that left-hand bend. They'll then be moving onto that long straight past Chiswick Pier in Chiswick Hayes.
Now, we've talked about the coxing quite a lot here. It's a really important part of the course and of the race. Just letting Newcastle University cross our screens there. I think that's Newcastle University B, the B crew, the second crew from the northeast, from up on the Tyne. But we saw that overtaking there from 3 or so crews at Hammersmith Bridge just a few moments ago. Now, that can be really stressful. You know, we talked about there's faster bits of water. You've got to try and stay in alignment. Try and get other crews to move out of your way so you get the fastest racing line. And that can be really challenging for especially coxes that have never raced on this piece of water here before. And look at this, 5 or 6 crews all gathering now in and amongst Hammersmith Bridge. But we're just starting to get wind of the provisional results here, and what an exciting result.
Yeah, and I will emphasise this by saying very much provisional. Our timing teams do a fantastic job with the timing here. They do go back and review the times and the video afterwards just to make 100% sure. But at the moment, we can say provisionally, obviously still some crews to race, but we'll be surprised if there's anyone who beats this. Leander Club, for the first time winning this outright since 2015. They tied for it in 2018. Winner of the Fairbairn Trophy and a new course record just by about 0.1 of a second. 16:27.9 is the time we have at the moment. Well, obviously now those times can adjust by a tenth or two when they go back and double check, and they are just over 6 seconds ahead of Oxford Brookes University Boat Club A in 16:34. Oxford Brookes B, another 10 seconds behind, 16:45, and Thames Rowing Club A jumping up from 6th before. They're currently sitting in 4th position in for the Thames Rowing Club A crew. Leander Club B in 5th, and London Rowing Club A, we said how much they would be looking to jump up. They're currently in 6th.
Wow, that's some really exciting provisional results coming through, and like we say, we'll bring you even more as more of these crews filter through. But that would be a sensational result for Leander Club, for that crew. Jack Totham, James Vogel, Tobias Schroeder, Sam Bannister, Dower de Graaf, Tom Ballinger, Miles Beeson, Dan Graham and Matt Rowe, a few of which came across from Oxford Brookes crews in years gone by. Matt Rowe and Sam Bannister, all part of prior Oxford Brookes crews that raced as part of the Ladies 8 last year. So making the switch seems to have paid off. But look, we're back on board now with Henley Rowing Club, and they're about to get underway here. And let's see if they can channel that Upper Thames energy that Leander Club have just demonstrated out there on the water. Neighbours of Leander Club, Henley Rowing Club, are paddling their way now to the start.
And see, we've got this Henley Rowing Club crew here. They were this crew raced at Henley Royal Regatta last year, affectionately known as Dad's Army, a group of very experienced rowers, maybe who wouldn't mind me saying, maybe a little bit past their athletic prime, but still very, very competitive and taking part all the time. The crew of Tom Jost, Dom Pivonka, Robbie Kennedy, Rob Edmondson, James Padmore, Nick Friend, John Gelling, Elliot Cole, and coxed by Rose Copus. You just see them coming up to the start line now. I think you got an experienced crew like this, you're going to know that they're going to take a good line and they're going to know how to pace themselves down this championship course.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is pacing, especially when it's fast conditions, potentially bumpy conditions. You need to have something left in the tank to be able to combat the wind. And I can see there Tom Jost in the 7 seat, backing up the rhythm and getting underway here for Henley Rowing Club.
Lovely line. Here we
Crew
go.
Number 128, lovely length we're hearing here from Cox, Rose Copus.
Get used to that rhythm. Feel it. Rhythm.
And that was exactly what we were expecting to hear, that getting onto rhythm, nice and long here for Henley Rowing Club. And still another 16, 17 minutes of rowing left for them at least. More overtaking going on in front of the embankment, and it's IC on IC in front of IC.
Yeah,
Well,
some real sort of inter-club battle going on here. I'm trying to work out where these belong to. We've got crew 63 on the near side. That's Imperial College Boat Club A. I'm trying to work out where the other Imperial crew is from. So we've got crew 63. And oh, it's their C crew. My apologies. So it's the C crew that actually started ahead of the B crew, crew number 60, and that B crew, as you might expect, closing up on them. And I think we're jumping on board with Glasgow University Boat Club now. Another one of our Coxcam crews. They are just coming up towards Barnes Bridge. You can see in the background. So Glasgow University, based on the Clyde in the west of Scotland, crew entirely based of undergraduates. They came 8th overall at Rutherford Head and won band 3.8. They set a time that was faster than all of band 2.8. And they're we're told that they're looking, while they may be starting a bit out of position, they're looking to really push themselves up the finish order and beat their previous best result of 39th here at the head of the river.
Yeah, top 50 finish, I think, is one of those achievements and accolades that a lot of crews set themselves sights for. Look at this, overtakes going on here for our visitors from Zurich, or just outside of Zurich, in fact. And you can see that they're going on the outside of the bend here as we approach, or going alongside the A at Will, I think.
Yes, you could just see Hammersmith Bridge starting to appear in the background. So I think we'll see them coming past that camera position there in probably about a minute's time or so. You can see another overtake that's going on at the moment. I can't quite pick out the crew numbers. Yes, they're back on board here with Zagreb. You can see the distinctive colours of Hammersmith Bridge. I think actually it might be that they're the ones who are being overtaken.
Well, we'll get a good
in this instance, yeah. So we got Staffer on the near side, and over on the far side again. It's testing our knowledge here, isn't it, Camilla? Of unisuits and blade colours.
Yeah, it certainly is testing our knowledge. It looks like to me it could be Swansea University Rowing Club. I think I saw the swans on the blades. That's one of the things that makes them very... So yeah, crew number 89, my apologies, it looks like Exeter University Boat Club. Perhaps look at this, a race 4 abreast here coming in towards the Putney Embankment. Lee Rowing Club certainly on the near side. That's a club colour I certainly will not be getting wrong, I hope. And then all lining up, it should be that the slower crews make way for the faster crews to take the racing line, but that can sometimes be a challenge when there's multiple crews trying to overtake others.
I was going to say, it should be. You're one reliant on the crew that you're overtaking, realising you're there and wanting to move out the way, and secondly, in that situation, it was very hard for Lee were the faster crew there. They were trying to come through, but they were really pinched in because they had the boats that are moored along the embankment on their right hand, on the Cox's right hand side, on the bow side of the boat, and on the left hand side there were 3 other boats. So you need all 3 of those boats collectively to move out the way at the same time. Otherwise, you can get a bit stuck. That's why I'm saying it's so important to give yourself that space. We've got Newcastle University. I believe that was crew. I don't have the crew number here for Newcastle University. Number 80. There we go. That's Newcastle University's D crew. And I'm very excited here in the commentary box because we just seen my favourite breed of dog, the Bernese Mountain Dog, the king of dogs.
Well, there we go. Star of the show for the day, the Bernese Mountain Dog.
And very fitting that we're jumping back now to our Swiss crew dog from those parts of the world. Maybe that dog is cheering them on. But it is Basel Ruder Club and crew number 99 that were overtaking, the Bessel Ruder Club, my apologies, from Germany, overtaking the Club Alpha. So do our international crew racing against each other here. And you can hear the cops just
Massive.
encouraging on his athletes. But you can see that Bessel now just starting to want to cut across. I think actually on the line, you probably both of these crews want to be a little bit further over to the right, taking the outside of the bend a little bit more. We're jumping back to the start. It's definitely a Tideway Scullers boat, but that does not look like a Tideway Scullers kit at all.
Crew number 146 we've now got on, I suspect, one of our visiting crews who are borrowing a boat from just next door, Tideway Scullers. They're rowing past them as we speak. Indeed, it is the Société Nautique de Genève, Switzerland. So many Swiss crews here this weekend.
Yeah, fantastic to see that they are here representing in force. And see in talking about the coxing, the kind of that line that you need to take as you come round that Hammersmith bend. It used to drive me mad whenever I was steering a boat round here, just trying to work out exactly how long you had to hold that line before you made that turn. See, any time that you're spent with the rudder on in a rowing boat is time that you're losing. You want to try and minimise that as much as possible while staying in the best water. But we've got Brookesbourne Rowing Club B here, crew number 90. They are sitting around about a length up on the crew just to their left-hand side as they're coming into the very closing stages.
Yeah, great look there from Brookesbourne. I thought they looked absolutely fantastic out there on the water. Certainly keeping it together through the closing stages. More sunshine. We're back with the sun here.
The rain was just a short intermission.
Yes, southwest London now starting to have the sun shining brightly on it. So many crews to try and keep abreast of. We're doing our best here to make note on who you've got coming into picture. But as you can see, there's a reason this is one of the biggest rowing races in the world. Iconic, so many crews travelling from all over the world, and that looks like crew number 116 coming towards us now. University College London Boat Club, UCL, more locals here. 119, I think, also in your picture, Sheffield University Rowing, and 117, Vesta Rowing Club E. So a couple of local crews sandwiching Sheffield University, the visitors from further north.
Yeah, so the Sheffield Cock's got a really hard job here because they're being overtaken on both sides. UCL have made up a good amount of ground. I think that's probably at least 3 crews now that they've overtaken on local water. You mentioned earlier, Camilla, about how sometimes coxes will want to start quite close to the crew behind. Sometimes if you know that you're faster than the crews around you, you actually want to give yourself a bit of space. You want to reduce the chance that you get sucked into those horrendous instances where you've got so many alongside, because the last thing you want to do, yes, it's not great to lose a bit of time going around a crew, but you don't want to clip a blade, you don't want to get a time penalty or even get yourself disqualified by doing something you shouldn't have done. We've got 2 more crews here, absolutely neck and neck, coming down toward the Black Buoy. We've got crew 96, I believe.
Yeah, I think it looks like. Yeah, this is 98. This is Say Club Staffer crew from Switzerland who we've been on board with for the last 6 kilometres or so, coming into the final sprint here. They've been overtaken once. We saw that line from the point of view from the Cox, but it's all behind them now, and into these sprinting stages. They'll be starting to see the crowds and the boat clubs, and they've come back past crew number 99. I've said that they've been overtaken, but they've managed to rally and find something in them, Will.
We've got 1 German crew and 1 Swiss crew having an absolutely ding-dong battle all the way down the championship course. This is superb. Staffer just trying to hold on. I think Bessel might have even been coming back there. I don't know if there may have even been some kind of contact between the crews that we missed. We've got 126 now. Glasgow University Boat Club A. Let's listen in.
Yeah, good. Connect. Yeah, we're on there too. Sit up. Chest side.
So it sounds like Glasgow University are making the overtake here. Alex Snyder, we can hear there, a 3rd year at Glasgow University who learned
We're going to come under Hammersmith on 10
University
legs.
College
Ready?
London.
Now. 1 leg.
Taking them through Hammersmith Bridge as the sun beats down.
Yep.
And Cox, the women's 2nd 8 a couple of weeks ago at Weehall, so plenty of recent practice on this course, and it's all paying off in spades as they now come into the closing stages of this race. More matched racing here. Crew number 106 are now being overtaken by crew 107. And this was this fight we saw right at the start of the race, Will.
Yes, we got City of Cambridge on the far side overtaking Warwick, but then they looked like they were trying to come through another crew. We're going back to crew 128 here, Dad's Army from Henley Rowing Club.
Yeah, great to have them. Crew number 128, who we were on board with through the start. We heard from Cox Rose Copus as she was telling them to settle, to save their energy, to be nice and long. Let's hear what she's got to say in the middle part of this race.
There we go. Good. In there. In there. In there. Good. This is exactly where we want.
This is exactly where we want. That's what we just heard. So that's good news there for Henley Rowing Club. It seems that they're pretty pleased with their progress.
Here we go. Sit tall. Stay sharp. There we go. Let's open those hips and swing together. Through. Swing together. Swing together. Swing together.
They've got a really nice rhythm, and you could just hear the way that Rose Copus, the Cox there, was using her voice, not just the words, but the way that you say things to really try and beat home with your athletes exactly what you want when you're talking about that rhythm, that swing, that long movement, but then sharp as well. We can see crew 129 here now, just coming through. Quintin Boat Club A, another local crew based on the Tideway.
Yeah, Quintin Boat Club, they have their boathouse just before the start of the race, just before the bridge, and it's where the crews end when the boat race finishes, which is taking place next week, by the way. So if you are tuning in, you're enjoying rowing, you may have heard of the Oxford-Cambridge boat race that will be taking place this time next week, a week today. So all of these crews travelling to race on this iconic course that has been used by many legends before them and will be after them as well. Many big names that we'll be seeing racing on this stretch of water in a week's time. Now, Collingwood College Boat Club. Now, Will, I know that you were excited to see that Collingwood had signed up for one of our Coxing camps, because you yourself were a college rower at Durham University, just down the river from Collingwood.
I was indeed, yeah, frequently raced against them. I'd say that Collingwood have been probably the strongest men's college on the Durham University scene for a good few years now. Maybe not when I was there, but we'll let them have their kudos now. But also amazing that for a college, they have entered 3 8s here. This is the Collingwood C crew that we're seeing racing down the course now. Crew 172. They've had to borrow an 8. They've borrowed a Usain Bolt from one of the other Durham colleges to race here today, and they're just coming through Chiswick Bridge, getting ready to start their race.
3 good 30. Press.
Sharp and press, the calls that we're hearing there.
We're staying long.
From the Cox, we're staying long at 31 strokes a minute. It sounds like that they're opting for to get down this course. Crew number 172. 5 of the crew learned to row at university, 4 of them having learned in college, which is the great thing about the Durham collegiate system, and we can both speak to that, having been at Durham University ourselves, myself, Hatfield, Will at St Hilda and St Bede, and we know the benefits of that 16 strong, 17 strong now perhaps, collegiate system of rowing, where plenty of people take to the water. And I did hear once, and then maybe this has changed in the last 10 years, that the Weir, which is the stretch of river that Collingwood here will have learned to row on, and many of the other colleges, was the most highly concentrated patch of British rowing memberships in the entirety of the UK. And I can believe that, I think.
Yep. We got crew 174 just going past the start. That is Brasenose College Boat Club. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Camilla. I was lucky enough to row with a huge number of athletes who learned to row at Durham University through the college rowing system. But we've got another great battle coming through the finish line. 3 crews. That looks like another Vesta crew 107. As I'm quickly scrolling through. Can't be 107. My eyes must be deceiving me. We jump back on board with Glasgow University Boat Club. They are just coming up to the black buoy now. So crew 126, as you mentioned, they're trying to beat their record of 39th, so they're going to have to overtake a huge number of crews if they want to do that.
Okay, that's your black boy in 2, in 1.
Yeah, we can
Where's
hear
the
now
black
they've
boy?
obviously
We're moving.
practiced this.
Yeah.
They know
Let's go.
that they need to move at this point
Step
in the
on.
race to try and bump
Step
themselves
on.
up the ranking to
Step on.
put themselves into the
Stay
Glasgow
stop.
University history books as the
Stay stop.
highest finishers
Yeah, let's
ever
beat off
for
that
the
noise,
uni.
boys.
And they're
We're
looking
going.
good into these sprinting
Legs
stages.
on.
This crew 126
Full
trying
length.
to aim for
Long in.
39th or
Long
higher.
in.
We'll
Yes,
bring
in
you some of
120
those results as
37.
soon as we can.
450
But they're absolutely
meters.
flying through these final stages.
Let's go.
Yeah, looking really
Big
good
legs.
here as they
Big legs.
pass our
Yeah,
position
one that
here
accelerates
at
the
Henley
second
Rowing
half.
Club into
Big
the
hit.
closing
Now.
stages, looking like they've still
Let's
got
hit.
plenty of energy and speed
Let's
left
hit.
in the tank. That's definitely one of the
119 at
fastest crews
37.
we've seen
Keep
coming through
pressing it
here
on.
for some
Stop.
time.
Stop.
They're just being
Stop.
willed on
Step
to the finish.
3.
It
Final
feels
sprint, we're
interminable.
going.
You
In
start
2.
noticing in your peripheral vision as a rower. You start
Step
seeing
3.
boat houses
Yeah.
on the left-hand
Legs
side.
on.
You think, I must be
Legs
there. I
on.
must be there. You
Legs
go past
on.
London Rowing Club, and
Leave
there's
nothing
still
here, boys.
250
Yeah.
meters to go.
Pin the
And it
finishes.
just feels so long
Hang,
until you
pit.
suddenly see
Hang,
here
pit.
emerging on your left-hand
Hang,
side.
pit.
You can just see it on the
116
right-hand
at
side of
37.
our shot there. They're
200
coming
meters
right up to the
now.
finish. It'd be great if we
Legs
could stick
on.
with them all the way to the finish
Legs
line.
on. Legs on. Legs on. Okay, ready, max speed. In 2. 1.
Max speed
Max
in
speed
2.
now.
That's the line must be
Empty
coming
it.
here. The call to empty the
Everything.
tank here for Glasgow
Middle.
University. You can see the pain on
3
their
strokes
faces
now.
as they
1.
approach the line. It can't be long now. That bridge is getting
Now.
closer and
3.
closer
And
in the
wind
vision
down.
of the cocks, and wind down. There you go. That's what the finish looks like. If you've ever completed one of these races, it certainly does take a lot out of you. That's now crew 184. Very different scenes here up at the start of this race. They've got all of that yet to come here, crew 184. And this is the crew from St Peter's College Boat Club. And more colleges here. Now, back to Henley Rowing Club, who we have that Cox cam footage from. Looks like they are either making an overtake or being overtaken, when we'll start to figure that out as we push through.
Everything fade together. Hanging tough. Hanging
Yeah, I think there's a chance they might have been going past the Chew House School Boat Club B crew there, the local school club from the Tideway. But Dad's Army from Henley Rowing Club resplendent in those brightly coloured base layers, just being urged on in their last few strokes.
Yes, here we go. I'm on their 3. Sit tall. Stay tough.
And just here the Cox there just giving the crew those benchmarks as they overtake that Chew House crew. It can be so moralising, it can be so motivating, can't it, to hear and also see as you're overtaking another crew. You can just see them moving away, even though that you're racing the other 300 crews on the river. It's so important to just have that motivation as you're going past another boat. And wind down across the line from Henley Rowing Club. We're jumping back to Hammersmith Bridge here, and we've got Bath University, by the looks of it, closest to the camera. Oh no, that might even be Manchester. My apologies. I understood the colour. It was purple rather than blue, but they are in a sandwich here. It looks like they've only got Nottingham on one side.
Yeah, 3-boat race there going under Hammersmith Bridge, but jumping back now to Collingwood College Durham, and crew number 172, as we said right at the top of this broadcast, 324 crews to get through here, but another stretch of gorgeous sunshine and water for Collingwood College, and we're trying to show you as many crews as possible here on this broadcast. And coming past us there, that looks like crew number 100 and I want to say 90 something. We'll have a quick look at the draw and see if we can recognise the kit. Perhaps Hughes Hall 191? No.
I think we're just going to have to take a pass on that. I'm very sorry if we're getting any of these crews wrong. We're trying to spot the numbers as best as we can, but the glare from the sun making that a little bit tricky. Crew 137, Runcorn Rowing Club's A crew, entered in the Jackson Trophy. They're trying to finish their race off strong.
And just a reminder, the Jackson, for crews that are outside of the Thames region, it's a coveted pennant that many of the crews from around the country aim for, and Runcorn trying to take on the rest of those crews from outside of the London region. Now, these are some of our spectators on the start.
I know you're tired. It's not going to get worse from here.
I know you're tired, and couldn't there be a truer sentence said there by the Collingwood College Cocks? They're almost through that halfway point, and in fact, I'm just searching on the left-hand side for those famous blue doors, which are the halfway point. Not particularly scientific, but I know that it's used by a lot of the crews that do pieces up and down this stretch of water, those blue doors that adorn the sides of the Thames. That, to me, looks like Twickenham Rowing Club. I could be wrong.
It is indeed crew number 139. And then coming up to Hammersmith now, we've got 156. That is University of Exeter Boat Club's C crew. For Exeter had a strong start to the year. Their beginner crew, so those who only learned to row this year, managed to take home the win in the beginner 8 category at the Bucks 4s and 8s heads. So it looks like they've got a strong pipeline coming through to push their seniors on this year and going forwards. Great to see universities who not only bringing on athletes from school and other universities and clubs, but also building their own athletes.
Well, you can just see how fast the water is moving there. That's at the start line. But back now here to Collingwood College, and there are the halfway markers. Just in the distance there, I promise you there are a set of blue doors just on the left, past this what they call the Chiswick Ayot, which is a sort of island that is on the left-hand side of the Cocks as you're looking at them now. And that big long island is around about that halfway, coming through halfway, and it's a big, long, sweeping bend. That's for the Cocks to deal with in these circumstances. And that looks to me now we're moving on to, is it Imperial Medics? Well,
it is indeed. Their distinctive stripes up the side of the boat, so all of these athletes are medical students based out of Imperial College London.
And we're looking at many collegiate crews, so not only Collingwood College, we talked about being collegiate, but many from the London university colleges and universities, but Oxford, Cambridge as well. We'll see plenty of them down the draw. Now, this is Leeds Rowing Club, where the next of our cops cams to take to the water. You can see they're starting to line up. They're still on the racing course side of the bridge, and as the cops are looking now, they're looking towards the start line, so they've still got a bit to paddle, Will, before they'll spin and turn into the racing line.
Yeah, so they're crew number 310, and we just got 205 going through the start line now. That is Roverheringen de Lark, Netherlands. Testing my pronunciation there.
In one, let's go now.
What did I do?
Yeah, I think pretty well. Pretty well.
Bit of work to do. But yeah, so just thinking how hard it is for those crews. We started this race an hour ago, and those crews had to be in position before that. So the Leeds, they've been sitting there getting cold, essentially getting, especially with the rain, getting wet.
We're still on 30.
Their warm-up will have been long in the past, and they just got to keep their calm and wait.
Heads together.
And be ready to get the most out of themselves when it comes to it.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll be tapping up all the way up to the start. Great shot here. We've got all the angles of Collingwood College Boat Club. We've got the onboard. We've had the shots off the start. Now we're starting to see them come towards Hammersmith Bridge. And that Hammersmith Bridge is both a nice sight to see, I think, when you're in the boat, but also a painful sight to see. It can signify the choppiest water and also the start of the end.
Yes, it is the start of the end, but you also know it's the bit that's going to.
We're going to go down on the rate, up on the power, up one, down one, into
Bridge, and I kind of do a little bit of a mental check and go, how am I feeling? Do I feel like I
Right,
can
good
hold this,
change.
or am I going to
Sit
really struggle?
long,
Am I going to have
press
something a
tall.
bit left
Good.
to give? But coming up to Hammersmith Bridge now,
Squeeze sharp.
and just a thought
Squeeze
actually, because we've
loose.
seen so many
Yeah.
crews that have been
Connect to the
racing that
swing.
have been incredibly
There you
close
go.
together. We're actually seeing Collingwood
Connect.
racing down
Press.
here in
Press.
what you might
Set.
say a bit of a vacuum. Doesn't look like there's many
I still
crews
need a
directly
little bit
ahead of
more
them. Doesn't look like
separation
there's
on the
many crews
arms.
directly behind them.
Ready
So it makes
now.
life easy for the cockpit from in one perspective, because you can just concentrate.
You've
You
got Rushy on
don't
that
need to worry
side.
about a
Let it
couple of crews
float.
around you. You can get your line,
Let it float.
but it can be
Ready
nice to have that
now.
motivating factor as well.
Float up together.
Yeah, it can,
Float
and
long.
I think
Stand up.
that's why I was saying
I
off
need
the
that
start. That
consent.
10 seconds that the umpires would
Consent.
love to see
Good.
being left between crews sometimes gets abused ever so slightly, because it
That's
is
better
really
on that rush
motivating
now.
to
I need
draw
that
up on a
lock
crew and
squeeze.
try and overtake
Lock
them.
squeeze. There'll be cameras
Especially
on
if you're the
Hammersmith
fastest crew,
Bridge.
it means that they
So
have to
heads
shift
up,
out that racing line
heads
and
in,
move
and
out
press
of the way. But
now.
Hammersmith Bridge,
Press
great to see
long.
a few spectators on the bridge after
Looking up at the bridge
but
now.
I'm not sure whether
Squeeze
that's
set.
allowed.
Squeeze
Obviously,
set.
Hammersmith
They're
Bridge, if you're
they're
not aware,
they're just walking
We've got
over.
2.8
they might
k
just be
left.
walking over. But
Yeah, think
for
about
those
those
who aren't
people
local
watching. Think
or
about that
aware,
training you've
Hammersmith
done.
Bridge has been
Stand up
closed
together now.
for some time due to the fact that there were some structural integrity issues, I think, that had been identified. So certainly not something that we want to see. We want to make sure that it's back up and running as soon as possible. This is crew now 154, I think. Did we just see
Yes,
that?
so we've got another one of our Durham colleges. We've got Trevelyan College Boat Club in their black and sort of minty greeny blue. Apologies to the Trevs athletes, I'm not getting your club colours exactly right, but another one of our Durham colleges, and I've seen quite a few of them on the list. In fact, even just looking now, I can see on our start list we've got Hatfield, Camilla's old college coming down soon, and Grey College, and St Hill and St Bede College, my old college. So we've got crew 221. And this might be another one of our international crews. Oh no, it's not. It's Brentford Masters Rowing Club.
Great to see a local crew, I assume, if it's Brentford. Brentford's just down the river, in fact.
just past the just a little bit upstream of the start line, around about Q, and then we've got what look like another Vesta crew in the foreground. 157 coming into the finishing area now. That is the University of York Boat Club's B crew.
I was very pleased I managed to get that from those lycras, which changed quite recently. I say recently, probably within the last 4 or 5 years, to include that lovely blue stripe that you can see. That was quite a new addition to the York University Boat Club lycra. But more spectators here starting to line the banks. The white roses of the University of York adorning the spoon of the blades through the sprinting stages. And they're keeping it nice and long, aren't they, Will, here? And again, rowing in a bit of a vacuum, considering we've seen these sort of blankets of 4 or 5 crews making their way down this finishing straight all at one time.
It's weird how it happens, doesn't it? You either seem to have crews with no one behind them or everyone around them. Crew 226 going through the start. Lymington Amateur Rowing Club racing for the Jackson Trophy. And a Tideway Scullers 8 as well, just starting off very close to them indeed. That'll be TG7, Tideway Scullers School C. 160 coming through the finishing area now. That is Keys Boat Club A, and another college crew, this time from Cambridge, and another college. We've got Pembroke. I think based on the colours, I'm going to say that is Pembroke Cambridge rather than Pembroke Oxford. Crew number 185. That is indeed Pembroke College, Cambridge.
Yeah, so many collegiate crews, as we've already mentioned, from so many different universities. And this is the end of the winter season for a lot of people, but the start of the summer season for a number of people. And all of the Oxford and College Cambridges will be looking to see who's got the speed with them ahead of the May Bump Series, a big event in Oxford and in Cambridge, where quite traditional sort of bump form of racing happens.
Oh, we've got 2 very close crews here. I can't tell if it was just splashing from the blades or if there was a little bit of contact there. I think there is space for these for these two crews. They're crews 190 and 189. So we've got Selwyn College Boat Club and Trinity Hall Boat Club. So two more collegiate crews. And as the sun just starts to go down, just causing that beautiful reflection off the water.
I thought you were going to say, speaking of bumps, you know, they're starting to get ready already. The wrong event, guys. Bumps is later on this year. We want to make sure that there's little impediment as possible going down this course. You'll get plenty of opportunity for that in the summer. But they're moving now through towards Hammersmith Bridge, and a popular watching spot. You can see here plenty of people gathered here on this sunny day in London, and as many crews as we can bring you here on the live stream for Head of the River. This looks like Peterborough City Rowing Club to me. Crew number 237. We'll just make sure we got that cross-referenced with our start list indeed, and that is a club junior crew, I think it seems like to me. They're eligible for both club and junior. Peterborough City Rowing Club.
Yeah, and all their specific pennants awarded to the best junior club crew as well. But jumping back to Collingwood College crew here. Oh, lovely shot there of the Riverside stand of the greatest football club in the world, Fulham Football Club.
Good.
In your humble opinion?
In my humble opinion.
Squeeze, shot, eyes up together.
Yeah, the
moving again. Good.
On the official opinion of
long.
head of the river race.
Shot.
But
Lock.
Collingwood just coming into their final stages now. It looks like they've maybe got a crew just starting to come past them on their right-hand side. You can see those good shots as the fox looks over her right shoulder and just see that bow of the other crew. I'm not sure if they're overtaking or being overtaken, but really good in those closing stages. If you've just got someone to either hold off or try and overtake. We see the face of the stroke man looking,
so we're going to respond.
Very little energy left. So anything that you have to really try and exhaust it in the last few seconds.
Black boy, 500 meters to go now. Stand up.
500 meters to go, being called here by the Cocks of Collingwood College.
And fight for that finish now.
They want to fight for the finish, and you can see how bumpy the water's starting to get as they're overtaking, as they are, I think, being overtaken actually, in fact. Will, you think?
Yeah, that boat that we saw about a minute ago, the bow ball was only a canvas overlap, but now this crew on the near side just trying to get a number on this one. Looks like they're just starting to pull past the sea crew from Collingwood College. It's so impressive, as I say, from Collingwood for a college with only maybe a couple of 250 students a year or so, having 3 8 here at the head of the river race.
Stand there, yes, you're matching them.
Yeah, see, this is what we mean. You can hear the Cocks say matching them. It's a good race. It will probably eke out a few more seconds than they would have done previously. Having a crew come up alongside you really spurs you on to push on to that finish line, because it's not often that you get this side by side at this point in at this point in the season.
Yeah, if any of you have had the
about 20 strokes left
misfortune to do a 2,000 meter test on the rowing machine, and you've done it by yourself and you've done it with someone around you or with someone shouting at you, you'll know just how important that motivational factor is. It can be so hard by yourself to push yourself to the very, very edge. So having the Cocks there, having your crewmates there, having those other boats around you makes such a difference.
We're going right to the end now. Okay. Press on.
Collingwood just holding all the way on. You could hear the shout of pain from the stroke seat of Collingwood College. So that's crew 172 across the finish line. That means more than half of our boats have now finished here at Head of the River 2024.
But still a lot more to go. So if you've not seen your friends, your family, your loved ones yet, and you're tuning in, waiting to see, we've got some action going on with the umpires launch here. Perhaps just a bit of a clean down after that shower of rain. But yeah, you can see here in the distance, we've still got a whole armada of crews coming down, but also a number of crews paddling back up to their boating locations.
Yeah, we mentioned you, if you were here with us early on, you'd have heard us mention that some of these crews, they all boat from different host clubs up and down the river, and some boat from there's many boat clubs in Putney, but they're all the way up and down, and those crews that we can see on the far side having to row all the way back, and it can be the last thing you want to do when you've just raced for 17-18 minutes or so, and you just want to have a lie down and get a bit of food. But we've got my alma mater now, St Hilden St Bede College Boat Club Durham. This is their B crew in the boat that I used to race in way back when, the John Lever.
Oh, how wonderful to see it's still going and still being used, and they're coming into the final stages now, Will. Great to see.
Yeah, great to see a boat that I raced this race with in 2012, and should have also raced it in 2013 and 14, but those were years that unfortunately became victim to the weather that sometimes can be an issue here. We're jumping back to Leeds Rowing Club C. They're still waiting up the start, but we can see they have now gone through the start line. So they'll. What happens is you're in a division maybe of 50 boats or so. You stay with that division and you move up all as one. So they'll have been down past the start line.
All delayed.
They'll have rowed up past the start line. And then they'll all spin together and see how close they are to some of the other boats around them. So it can be a bit of a job for the cops, just making sure they don't have any issues. Looks like we've got boat 215 from Marlow Rowing Club just coming past Hammersmith Bridge now. So into the last third of their race, that is the Marlow Rowing Club D crew.
Yeah, more crews from the sort of upper Thames region. Out sort of Marlow, Henley, we were on board with them earlier. Upper Thames we've seen, as well as on the same sort of general stretch as Leander Club, who provisionally, just to remind you if you're just tuning in, Leander Club are provisional winners here at Head of the River, and provisionally a brand new course record. We did warn you it was going to be fast, and it seems like they've listened to the commentators and decided to deliver. The old record time 16:28.04 that was held by Brookes last year looks to have been beaten this year by Leander Club A in a time of 16:27.9. We still need these results to be checked. Oxford Brookes University Boat Club A 16:34.4 in second place currently at the moment, but again we'll continue to make sure that as we can we'll bring you any confirmed results.
Yeah, and you can go to the Head of the River Race website and go to the live results, and you'll see there the results as they come in, although as Canella said, they are very much provisional. Seeing Nottingham Rowing Club coming through Hammersmith Bridge, and although unfortunately it's like a crew, the 3 and 4 seat have had some kind of issue in the crew closest to the camera. That looks like it might be Heriot Watts University from Scotland. They're 3 and 4 had some kind of issue and aren't able to row, unfortunately. They've even put their splash jackets back on, and unsurprisingly, considering they've only got 6 rowing and they're carrying that extra probably 170 kilos of weight or so, they are being overtaken by the crew just past them. Can't quite pick the number on that.
Yeah, but still continuing on, and that's great to see here. Still trying to finish out this race. And there is Hammersmith Bridge, iconic on the landscape of this course, and why a lot of these crews travel from not only all around the UK but all around the world to race underneath the iconic Hammersmith Bridge. And now on screen, we've got more crews to bring you, more crews that are still yet to conclude their racing. We kicked off at 3:15. It's now 4:30 local time here in London in the UK, with more crews yet to race. And just trying to figure out who we've got here on our screen.
It's crew number 197, Homerton College Boat Club. So seeing so many Oxford Cambridge and Durham collegiate crews racing here. 269 going through the start line now. So we're getting very close towards our final cruise being on the water. That is the Royal Free and University College Medical School Boat Club. Fantastic. So many of these academic institutions from London that sometimes form part of wider clubs like University of London Boat Club, but also have the option to race as smaller clubs, which also allows them to have slightly different training plans. So if you're not keen on doing 12 training sessions a week, you can focus on your academic degree, have a little bit more free time, still get a good amount of rowing in, and still race in great events like this.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a culmination of the winter season for so many. One of the biggest races on the calendar for a lot of athletes around the rowing theme. And always a fantastic entry from not only clubs, schools, universities, but also from our overseas clubs as well. So plenty to be said for the entry this year, 324 crews. Big thanks once again to our volunteers who make this event happen. We're kept safe, umpired, marshalled, and our timing teams, the organising committee all make this happen and make it happen for clubs like University of Surrey, who now move through the line. I think that's Surrey from the colour of the blades, which means that must be crew number 281, the University of Surrey Boat Club C.
Yeah, so we're into our last 40 or so crews to finish. You can see the sun starting to get a little bit low in the sky. We've got Kingston Rowing Club on the far side here.
Kingston, another boat club. I love the lycras here. I know that they must get it a lot, but I think it's very unique to have those sort of hooped stripes, the red and white of Kingston Rowing Club.
Yeah, and a very famous club that's been around for a long time, based out of southwest London on the non-tidal part of the Thames. Beautiful stretch of water that for a long time was used by the British rowing team as their where they did their trials.
Now, Kingston Rowing Club, unfortunately, Kingston Head was one of the races that fell victim to the inclement weather earlier this year. So they'll be sure grateful to have time out on the water here, and certainly at a big race like Head of the River. That's crew 287 now on your screen. This is the Richterschorner Ruderverein Berlin Germany Club, and great to see again more international interest in Germany. One of the countries that usually send quite a lot of club crews here to Head of the River. I would argue, and I think actually having read some of the information on the Head of the River page, they are the country that sends the most international crews year on year to this event.
It's good to know. That's a lovely little tidbit, and also crews right from different ends of the spectrum as well. So we've got those very top end performing crews, and also more club level crews. Like we had crew 200 or 201 just coming through the finishing area there. Another K9 spectator. It's always a fantastic part of rowing events. Crew 213. That is Northampton Rowing Club's A crew. Fantastic leggings on this crew. The tiger stripes. You're not going to miss those guys coming from a long way off. A little bit clashing with their yellow boats.
Look, it's all about clashing. It's what we love. I know that's certainly something that a lot of university crews in years gone by at Bucks have attempted to do. Right, the more clashy, the better. So good to see that continue. That was crew 289, I think. Leeds Rowing Club, was it? Or no, sorry,
it was 292.
292.
Anglian and Alpha, another local club. We're just seeing Oriel Kensington, one of the crews that have finished the race. They just come into their landing stage. They're one of the local clubs, so they get to use their own changing room, their own boathouse. And then we're back to the start. We see three crews all starting off very close together. So being pushed through the start line, very, very close. Hopefully they'll be able to stay apart as we go down the course.
Yeah,
Great shot as they move away from Chiswick Bridge, moving towards Barnes.
And you can see here the different lines that all the different coxes choose, and we promised you the river would sort of drain out as the race goes on, and that's one of the benefits of finishing higher up the rankings the year before, is that you get to start off where the river is quickly moving out as it's the tide is going out, and with these later crews, what happens is the tide, the sort of speed that the tide goes out slows down, so they don't get as much benefit from that tide turning.
Yes, absolutely. We've got a exciting crew just going through there in the yellow crew, 248, the Scottish Argonauts, an open junior club. Scottish Argonauts put together through Scottish Rowing. This is a group of junior athletes from a variety of clubs around Scotland who come together to train in the run-up to head of the river and race together. Clubs that might not usually be able to send a whole 8 themselves, from a lot of smaller clubs, a lot of athletes there with a huge amount of potential, and great that they get the opportunity to race here. The Scottish Argonauts have been doing this, especially on the women's side, for a good few years, and see they're now doing it on the men's side as well.
Yeah, and they're looking really good going underneath Hammersmith Bridge, and I think that that's something that with some of the junior crews, obviously they don't have results in prior years often, or if they do get a crew together, they can sometimes end up towards the back of the field. I know that one of the years that I raced at the women's 8th of the river, we did a sort of combination crew, a composite crew, and we ended up going off 200 and something, and you can find yourself sort of moving up through the rankings, and that's certainly something that the Scottish Argonauts will be looking to do with those strong junior athletes from all around Scotland, as Will has said.
We're into the 300s now, and it's crew 302, St Neots Rowing Club A from Cambridgeshire. They are on the course now, so we're into the 300s, which means we probably only got about 20 or so crews left to start the race, and it's like another Agecroft crew. That was 304, Agecroft Rowing Club C. Some more nature up and down the Thames, like some rather exuberant geese. Just trying to see if there's any leftovers on that houseboat. Going back to the finish now, and we've got crew number 230 coming up to the finish. That is Bideford Amateur Rowing Club.
Yeah, and a good variety of crews, like we've said, all the way through this draw, racing for all the different kinds of pennants, and also racing for placing or just for fun. You know, there's so many different people that come to race at this race for different reasons. And as we draw towards the end of the day, the sunlight still holding out. Nice to see signs of spring, as it's still nice and light here at 25 to 5 on a March evening on a Saturday. And marshals keeping everyone in check as they make their way back towards their boat houses and down the course, and making sure that the racers stay on the racing line. Those paddling back up to the boat houses stay in the correct place at the correct time. And that looks like, to me, crew number 311, Will. So we are onto the final page of the draw now, and that is the London Otters Rowing Club. Great to see them racing.
Yeah, absolutely. The Marshall's crew that you saw there is actually the starter, so they attach themselves to Chiswick Bridge, and as every boat comes past, they call out their number and they shout "go," and that is the cue for that crew, knowing that they've maybe got 50 metres or so until the start. We've got in Cardiff University on the far side there in the red boat, but we've got a few boats all very close together here. Again, coming through Hammersmith Bridge, it always seems to be happening here. So Cardiff they're on the inside of the bend, so they've got the shortest line, but maybe not the quickest water, and hard to tell if they're being overtaken or they are doing the overtaking. It looks like those two crews are fairly similarly matched in speed. It's one of the things that I love about this race so much is that you get the opportunity for crews that, regardless of where their overall finishing position is going to be, they get the opportunity to race the crews around them and have really good competition. We've got the Blue Stars of Newcastle University just backing down there. It looked like they were trying to get back towards where they were boating from.
It looks like Bath University there on screen, and we must be coming into the closing stages with their crew number 242, and looking still very tidy, very upright around the finish, I would say, for that crew.
Yeah, looking very strong for a crew starting with 240s. It may have been that Bath didn't enter a third crew last year. Oh, we got a boat without its bow number. So you see that little black slot right at the end. We got the rubber bow ball on the end. That's there for safety, and then we got what we call the impact slot. That just holds the bow number in place so the timing team and us can identify who they are. Now, you mentioned about the swans on the blades earlier, Camilla. There is indeed University of Swansea Boat Club just coming through Hammersmith Bridge. They are into their closing stages. Crew 321 going through the start line now. That's St John's College, Oxford. So only 3 crews left on our start order. Now, there may be some crews who maybe didn't get to the start in time and they're going to be starting right at the very end. But not enough for these athletes we're seeing now. They are done with their work for the day. Crew number 127. They're able to go inside, get themselves dry and warm. University of Birmingham Boat Club.
Crew number 239 now coming into sight. This is the Minerva Bath Rowing Club. Shout out to the Minerva Bath song on Spotify, which made a real surge to rowing fandom. Maybe 10 or so years ago now, showing my age. But Minerva Bath now pushing on towards the finish line, and they will be contesting for the Jackson Trophy. This is Minerva Bath B crew. We'll have seen their A crew further up the draw.
Yeah. So you mentioned about the Jackson there. We obviously had loads of different trophies, but I think one of the things that's really encouraged some of these clubs to start entering the Eights Head that maybe didn't in previous years is the introduction of the medium and the small club pennants. So awards that are specifically there, not just for the big clubs that are there every year, but for those that aren't always able to, they don't have a huge number of members, they're not always able to field a full 8. And great to have those categories in here. We're back with the Scottish Argonauts now. Those lions rampant on the back of the unisuits, and they are indeed 8 rampant rowers charging down the final few hundred meters, coached by the father and son team of Lindsay and Dale Flockhart and Sky Balance, Jamie Stewart in the Cox's seats, Jake Stewart in the stroke, John Anderson, Cameron Kahn, Evan Colclough, Finlay Morton, Thomas Lowry, Tom Morrison and Rory Stewart Knight, all representing different junior clubs from around Scotland, racing under the Scottish Argonauts name, coming into their closing stages and looking very strong as they do so. So coming back to Hammersmith Bridge, not many crews left to come under there now. I'd imagine we'll now have all of our boats on the course or finished. That looked like they're on medics.
And it looks like that's the starting launch coming in now, which means that I think all crews now underway, maybe not quite 324 due to those scratches and withdrawals, but a maximum of 324 crews now on their way. That looks like Aberdeen University to me from the light crow.
It is indeed 254. One of the case of the British crews that are here, and ones that have come the furthest. They raced on D in Aberdeen.
What a wonderful mullet that is in the 60s, perhaps.
Is a mullet ever wonderful?
Yeah, no, I think that very impressive hairstyle. But no, Aberdeen, like you say, will have travelled a really long way to race here. So thankfully, the Thames has behaved itself to allow crews like this to travel that distance and take part in the head of the river race. We talked about how it's been plagued often by bad weather, rain, lots of stream, but this year not one of those years, despite a number of races being cancelled on the run up to today. And Oriel Kensington here looking to return home after hopefully a good race for them. They'll dock in, they'll look at their results. Can't tell if they're pleased or not, actually, but certainly looks like a beautiful scene, a nice wave there from the AK rowers to you tuning in on the live stream. And if you are tuning in to watch, I think I was going to say City of Cambridge, but it looks like Southampton actually with the boat code. Southampton University now on your screen.
Southampton University coming into those closing stages, but we've seen that Kensington crew. They've been lucky. They didn't have the furthest to row. It's only maybe 3 kilometres or so from the finish back to Oriel Kensington at Hammersmith Bridge, but it can be really, really grim if you're boating out of University of London, which is back past the start line. You're rowing against the tide. It was even on the official instructions for crews advising them that if they were rowing back that far and they were starting down toward the end of the race, they bring lights with them to stick on the boat because there's a chance it might be dark by the time they get home. Some crews will even stop off in Putney and just get a little refreshment, just cool themselves down a bit before rowing back. So we can see our starters launched there. Their job is done for the day. They're making their way back towards race control. As we can see, crew 252 coming through now. That is Van Milder Boat Club, another of our Durham collegiate crews.
Great to see Milder back up and running. They had a fire at their boathouse within the last kind of decade, which devastated a number of the boats. They did a big fundraiser that allowed them to get back on their feet. So wonderful to see Van Milder College back out on the water after that tragedy that took place. Was it over COVID, I think, Will? I'm starting to stretch my brain here a little bit, but no, really good to see them back.
It was a really good example of the rowing community really coming together, because there were a lot of other clubs that offered, whether it was financial resources, whether it was loaning of equipment, saying that they'd be very welcome to come and borrow boats at events. It was really, really encouraging to see. We just had Trafford Rowing Club there, crew 293, one of our veteran crews racing. There's also the veterans head of the river tomorrow, so maybe Trafford are getting a bang for their buck and getting 2 races down the championship course out of one weekend.
They've come down for the weekend from the northwest, and they have two stamps at it. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this and you want to watch more rowing, you can come down if you're around and about the Putney to Mortlake area and tune into more rowing tomorrow at the Veterans Head. But here now closing out this Head of the River 2024, the last 50 or so crews here, and this is Bath University Boat Club D on the left-hand side of your picture, just being overtaken into the closing stages, but they'll be glad to see the finish line within sight. More waving here from AK, and that to me looks like giving some instruction here to crews that are landing.
Yes, exactly. I think if you're a local crew, you know exactly what to do. We've got crew number 97 here. That is University of Swansea. They've looks like they are rowing themselves back up, having finished their race.
And it just goes to show you how long it takes to row back up. That's crew 97 that must have finished, almost half an hour, 45 minutes ago.
We've got Cardiff University Boat Club, crew 261. That's their steam crew coming into the finishing area now. So around about 60 or so boats left to finish. All of them are on the course. So we'll be seeing them come down in the next few minutes, if we can, before we finish our broadcast today. We'll try and bring you the provisional results from the Head of the River race. As Camilla mentioned earlier, it seems like Leander have taken the win over Oxford Brookes University in provisionally a new course record as well. We've got 2 more boats coming through Hammersmith Bridge now. And again, great to see this side-by-side battling all the way down the field.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether you start number 1 or number 324. There's the crews to race all around you, and of course you're trying to race the clock in this head race format, which is what's so good about it.
And you're competitive. You always want to put in the best possible performance. You can see some of the supporters there on the Surrey bank of the river, just in front of the playing field of St Paul's School. Mentioned St Paul's School. They won the School's Head of the River earlier in the week, and provisionally, when we had a quick look at the results earlier, they were sitting in 12th overall, which for a junior crew, beating pretty much all bar about 2 university crews, about a minute or so off the very top crew from Leander, for a group of athletes that are 16, 17, 18, absolutely astonishing.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Now, we saw these guys go off the start, and they're almost at the end of their journey here at the 2024 Head of the River. This is crew number 269, the Royal Free and University College Medical School Boat Club 2, and they're really trying to wind up the racing, and plenty of support here on the bank. I suspect from local friends going to university whilst you're in London, you must get lots of your pals coming down to support.
Yeah, easy to encourage some of your friends to come down. As you mentioned, there's a bar and some of the rowing clubs. I'm sure all those bars will be very busy later on into the evening. We're seeing Swansea there, so they are boating out of Tideway Scullers, so they are out of the start line. So they were through 97, and it's 10 to 5, and they've only just got back. 285 and 290 here. So we've got 290 on the near side. Dart Totteners B really going for it, and they are motoring past the University of Exeter's E crew. But yeah, Dart Totteners to place. We've got two crews down from the southwest here.
Yeah, the southwest battle. And the one thing I would say, we talked about Exeter's beginner program earlier, their novice program. I suspect they will have entered their novices, and with it being their E crew, I don't know whether that is the case, but they probably will have their novice crew racing here this weekend as well. But Totnes were steamrollering past them in that battle for the southwest in the final 250 meters. Now, as the light's starting to diminish here on the evening of the Head of the River race, just struggling to see some of the numbers quite as clearly as we were in the early stages of this race. But moving towards Hammersmith Bridge, you can see behind this crew here, Hereford, it looks like to me, from the light crews. The crews rowing back up towards their home boat clubs or their hosting boat clubs. And really high rating here from crew number 295. This is Itchin Imperial Boat Club, lots from the south coast, it seems.
Yeah, so we're getting crews from all different types of rowing clubs, whether you're on river, coastal regions, tidal. They are just going past 291. That's Tyne Amateur Rowing Club D crew, saying how impressive it was for Tyne, based in the northeast on the River Tyne, for them to have 4 crews racing down here. I know they've got more crews racing in the Vet's Head tomorrow. That Tyne D crew copped by Emily Thompson and stroked by Ben Robinson. You can see crew 91, Tideway Scullers, making their way back towards their own boathouse.
And the long old row for them, that 6.8 kilometres in reverse. They've just had to race it down, and now they're rowing it back up against the tide. Crew 298 now on your screen. This is Gravesend Rowing Club. Not sure where they're based. Do you know, Will?
I don't.
We'll do a bit of research and come back to you.
Down in Kent. I might be completely wrong with that. My apologies if I am.
No, you're absolutely right. Just east of Dartford. So they'll be rowing perhaps on the sort of river mouth of the River Thames, the point where it gets the widest. So, this part of the river will be like a Sunday row, like a canal. It'll be very, very flat in comparison to what you get at the mouth of the Thames.
The tide's going out. They can just keep going when they get to the finish.
So I think that just from the information that we're getting, currently the results page is down on the Head of the River website. I'm sure lots of people trying to get access to that to check where their friends and family have finished, and sometimes that can be the case that it can overload the system. So we'll be getting that back up and running, and some provisional results to you as soon as possible. But meanwhile, still some more crews to focus on taking on the final 500 meters or so of this race. We're into the sort of latter 200s, early 300s now. So if you're looking out for a particular crew, you might be able to see them on the screen now. And I'm just trying to pick out if I can see any blades that I recognise. But for now, I feel like my knowledge is pretty good, but not that good. So crew number 324 now on your screen.
They were the last on our entry list, Putney Town Rowing Club's B crew. I'm not sure if they are still the last crew on the water, but they are just about to go through Hammersmith Bridge. So we're really into the closing stages of our event now.
Yeah, Putney Town, another local crew. They've not got far. Well, I was going to say not got far to head home. They've got far to head home. They're about as far as you can be, other than the University of London on this stretch of water. They're right up past Tideway Scullers, who you're on your screen now, past Chiswick Bridge, but they certainly are local to the Thames in this stretch of water, which they will row on for all of their training sessions. Now, this looks like to me St Neots again, perhaps, on the screen. I think that's the club colours of St Neots, crew number 302. Yes, I've still got it. St Neots Road Club A there on your picture, coming into the final stages of the Putney Mountain.
Yeah, and as Camilla mentioned earlier, great to still hear so much support coming from the crowd. Look how fast that water is. So that's a boat that's sitting against the stream, and you can just see the water there, just wanting to run over the top of the blade. And yeah, just showing how much help has been there to help these crews coming down the course. And it's why we provisionally got a course record for Leander Club. I think it's going to show that because they race in the opposite direction, the times for the boat race next weekend are not going to be too quick.
So that's yeah, certainly unsurprising, I think, and we sort of alluded to it on our coverage ahead of this race that we could be in for some really quick times, and it has delivered provisionally. Leander Club A, we appreciate, we acknowledge that the results web page is down at the moment, but as it stands, we can tell you Leander Club A provisionally were on top, ahead of Oxford Brookes University Boat Club A and B in second and third. Now, we are looking at, on your screen, crew number 311. This is London Otters Rowing Club. So London Otters, established back in 2014, and London Otters do pride themselves on being an LGBTQ plus friendly rowing club, and great to see them here on the other side of London, taking on the Head of the River race.
Absolutely, Camilla. So they are recruit 311, so really not many left to finish. 316, that's their A crew now. We just had their B crew, and starting just behind them, we've got their A crew. They are into the last minute and a half or so of their race here down on the Putney embankment.
Yeah, they row out of the Royal Docks in East London and value inclusiveness, teamwork, development, sportsmanship and resilience. And it certainly requires a lot of resilience to go through all seasons, all weathers, all bits of wind and rain that the tideways thrown in the sort of middle part of the day that we've had here. But nice bouts of sunshine here to close off these 300 odd crews that have taken part here at the Head of the River here today. And this Mortlake to Putney race concluding now for some, and the crews that have managed to tick this off in 2024 making their way now back to their host clubs, and a much lighter panel than they'll have done during the race.
Yeah, a little But you can afford yourself a slightly relaxed row back, although you do want to get home quickly. Leicester Rowing Club H, I think that's the first H crew we've seen of huge strength and depth from Vesta. There'll be a huge amount of cheering going on from the Vesta bar, which is pretty much directly opposite where this crew is at the moment, just across the road from Thames Rowing Club on the Putney Embankment. Seeing a few of more of our athletes who've just come back into the landing stages at Tideway Scullers, right on our start line. I think this athlete seems to have, he's either intentionally got mismatched shoes or he's just grabbed whatever shoes he could find.
So the telltale signs of the race coming to a close now. More boats going in than there are going out, and well done to all of the athletes and competitors that have taken on this 6.8 kilometres of gruelling tideway water, very fast conditions, as we said. They'll have flown down here, and this is crew number 321, St John's College Oxford Boat Club, and in the last handful of crews, you couldn't tell by looking at them though, they are moving really well through the last 20 or so strokes towards the line. I say 20 or so, I've probably estimated that a little bit wrong. I think we're a bit further up than I anticipated actually, but still, that is in front of them, Marlow Rowing Club E on the left-hand side.
Yeah, so a couple of very different lines being taken there by these crews. So St John's looks like they may not have been here in years past. Oh, look how miserable this looks for these crews going back now against the tide. I think probably against the wind as well, based on the conditions we've had. Into the darkness. Crew 322 heads down and pushing to the line for the City of Cambridge crew. They are trying to finish off their race in style. They are the anti-penultimate crew on our start list. Don't know if they've overtaken anyone on the way down the course. I think our last crew should be Putney Town Rowing Club B crew. Will be coming to the finish line in just a few minutes. So really not many crews left here to finish at the 8th head of the River Race 2024. You can see some of the athletes from St George's College Boat Club there over on the riverbank having finished their race, and some of the last few spectators probably waiting for some of the crews who are rowing back past just to be able to cheer them on. Seeing some of our umpires heading back to their home bases. A huge thank you to all of the local clubs that lend their boats to the race for the umpires. 322 City of Cambridge E. They are into their last few strokes now. And we will be seeing the final few crews to take the line here at the head of the river 2024. And you can see just gathered past Putney Bridge all of the sort of pile up of finished crews who are tired and wanting to get home and wanting to celebrate their race, I'm sure. So they'll be trying to get off the water as soon as possible. Yeah, and there's often umpires who are very understandably trying to keep them safe and keep the race moving and get them out of the way. And I definitely know, being on the receiving end of that as an athlete, you're not necessarily wanting to be told what to do. So 324, our last crew on the water, Putney Town Rowing Club B.
The final crew to take to the water, the final crew to row down the home straight in front of those clubs on the Putney Embankment. The composure here from this crew, they'll have had a long wait through the rain, through the wind, to be that final crew off the start, but it's not dampened their spirits one bit as they plug away through these final 50-odd strokes, and looking very rhythmical, like a metronome, taking one stroke after another to complete the 4.5 miles of course, near on 7 kilometres, as we've talked about already. And anyone that can complete this iconic course deserves a big old pat on the back. And after a long winter, great to see the sunshine bouncing off the water here in London, in southwest London, on the Thames, in Putney. and long may it live on. And great to have a race underway that was as much capacity as it could be safely as possible. And a big thank you to all the coaches and crews as well for approaching this with such sensibility, making assessments on your crew based on whether they were sort of ready to race on what is a very changeable piece of water. And we do really appreciate your cooperation, your flexibility, but also we appreciate you supporting the Head of the River race. And as the final crew crosses the line here, I think we can safely say that this has been an immensely successful Head of the River race. The 2024 edition has gone off very smoothly, with sunshine as well thrown into the mix as a cherry on top. And I think that will conclude the racing for 2024, with Putney Town Rowing Club B, the last crew across the line. And would you look at that, the scenes here on the banks of the Thames will close the day out, and the sun will set, ready for another day of racing tomorrow at the Vet's Head, and next week again at the boat race. It's been a busy few weeks here for the Tideway, and the last few of our umpires' boats will be making their way now. A big round of applause, I'm sure, for those on the bank, for all of our help, marshals, umpires, volunteers that make this race happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And a huge thank you to our sponsor for this race, the official merchandise partner of the Head of the River, Rock the Boat Clothing. You can go to their website and pick up a memento from the race, all branded with the Head of the River logo. And if you're in Putney, you can still make your way down to their stand just outside Vesta Rowing Club.
Yeah, big thank you there, Rock the Boat. If you've enjoyed watching, racing, participating, supporting, whatever it is, and that you want to make memories, make sure that you get yourself onto the Rock the Boat website. Now, if you want to check back in on the results from today's race, you can find them later. They will be available at horr.co.uk/results, and that will be later on. All of those provisional results will be checked over, confirmed, and you'll be able to find where your crew's finished on the website later on today. So make sure that you check those out as and when the website is back up and running. But we've really enjoyed ourselves here today, and I'm sure a lot of people out there on the water have too. It's been a gorgeous day for racing, and a really successful day at that, like we've said already. And it's great to see so many people out there enjoying rowing well.
Yeah, it really has. So a huge thank you to all of you for joining, all of our competitors for racing, all of our volunteers for helping out, and also to our incredible broadcast team who put on this amazing coverage.
Yeah, it's been great to see the Head of the River from all angles, from start to finish. I've been Camilla Hadland-Horrocks, one of your commentators, along with Will Hadland-Horrocks, and hopefully we'll see you again next year for the Head of the River 2025.